Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view, please go to and type in capital letters RBRIMO. Capital letters RBRIMO to view the In My Opinion Show's wonderful catalog of shows. Also, you can access the In My Opinion Show through YouTube. Do the same process. I'd like to welcome our talented co-host to the show. We have Ms. Jackie Williams. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Henry Hedder.
Ron, welcome, Jackie.
Thank you.
And welcome to our millions of viewers worldwide. We're going to talk about minimum wage, okay? Minimum wages must be increased, both state and federal. The federal minimum wage is $7.25, and the Michigan wage is $7.40 an hour. Workers need a livable wage. President Obama has asked to boost federal wages from $7.25 an hour to $9 per hour. This is still not enough to raise families. It should be at least $12 to $15 an hour. There's a groundswell in the nation, and you've seen it on the news and your local news networks and the national networks, where these workers are rebelling against these unlivable wages. Here in Flint, where this show is broadcast from, there's been a number of walkouts. Okay, around the state, there's been thousands of walkouts. Nationally, tens of thousands more. People need a livable wage. We cannot raise our families on $7.25 or $7.40 an hour. Jackie, what is your thoughts?
Actually, I do agree greatly that the wages definitely need to increase so that the working will not be the working poor. They're not able to sustain affordable health care with the wages that they receive. And we actually had a protest here in Flint, Michigan on August the 29th. Because the workers are tired of not being able to take care of their families but going to work every day.
Henry, what is your thoughts?
Ron, I like my friends out there who are working for a minimum wage, and I can appreciate the position of the employers who are asked to pay minimum wages in excess of what is established by law. But there's a caveat, Ron. If you don't have the money to pay people additional wages, you can't do it. Where would that money come from? Many small businesses and entrepreneurships just don't have the money. They're in competition with other people who are providing similar kinds of wages. But the unfortunate thing is that we don't have enough people with the skills to compete in those areas where wages are better. I sympathize with all of the people who out there have one or two kids and earn $2,000 a month. Or $5,000 a month. Well, $5,000 you could live on, but $2,000 you're getting pretty up there. But if you $14,000 to $15,000, which is a standard for minimum wage or living wage, there are many people who can't live on that. With all of the other things that they have to put into taking care of a family, that's just not enough. But we're a nation in decline. We're becoming a poor nation. We're going to have to learn to live with less, as I've said many times on this show. And those people who can afford to save their money and minimize expenses in their home by cutting down on the water bill, cutting down on the heating bill, and cutting down on travel and stuff like that will fare better. But for now, we don't have solutions for that. We have no solution. And besides, minimum wage was not created to give people a living wage. It was created to provide supplements. And that's where we're hung up.
Supplements to what?
Supplements to...
Maybe back in agricultural days, perhaps, maybe, but nowadays, when you got executives, all right, in these major corporations, General Motors and Fords and Chryslers and McDonald's and Church Chicken, and places like this, making millions of dollars and then bonuses of millions more. I mean, it's, and then you see people, all right, I see it every day, in fact, this morning, I seen a family, at a stop sign, with a sign, homeless, need food, need money. Now, in the richest country in the nation, one should not have to see that. Families should not have to endure this. Okay, and I understand that corporations need to make money. Okay, but make money, but not on the backs of the people that are creating, that are making the money for you, that are doing the groundwork.
But Ron, most of those jobs where people get minimum wages are service work.
Well, what difference does it make? Those people are humans.
If you don't sell a product, you don't buy a product that somebody else in some other country wants and can need or provide a service, then you're not creating wealth in the country. The country needs a mechanism for creating wealth so it can be distributed to those who need an increase.
I totally disagree.
All right, that's okay, and you should.
I totally disagree.
Yeah, that's all right. And things are not going to get any better. Consider this. What's happening to people, the American Affordable Care Act? You know what it's doing to employers? It's forcing employers just to hire people only for 20 hours a week because they cannot afford the health care. And what you're talking about will grossly spiral that whole process out of a workable situation. Look, the unions are turning against this whole process. I don't know whether you guys are reading or hearing this. Now they're opposed to the American Affordable Care Act for what it's doing to the workers. And this is being driven by government policies.
Well, to address what you're talking about, I think, all right, the states have enacted legislation, all right, to pretty much, all right, especially with this right to work foolishness, okay, they pretty much have knocked the unions out of the box. All right, so maybe the unions are scrambling to get whatever they can, but I can't see them for a moment. All right, wanting to get negative on the Affordable Health Act. All of those millions, especially now and in 2014, when a lot more of those things come into being, is going to help millions of people. All right, America needs healthy people. That's our future. Those are our workers. That's our workforce. Okay? You were going to say something, Jackie.
Yeah, I wanted to address several things. It was Walmart, Sam's, and McDonald's recorded record-breaking profits. That means kind of what Ron said, where they're making millions and their managers are getting bonuses in the thousands and $100,000s. That means that there's an excess. So if they didn't have the workers on the front of the business, they wouldn't make that kind of money because the top executives are not on the service line. So if they would remove themselves, then where would they get their money from? They wouldn't get any money. So it's not that they don't have money to spread around. What it is it's top heavy because the executives their pockets are being filled, but they're not trickling it down so that everybody can profit from what's good because everybody has to eat. Everybody needs goods, so they have to go to Walmart. So they're making millions of dollars, but they're just not sharing the profits. It's top heavy.
Well, that's easy to say. But Walmart has tremendous expenses, okay? It hires as the largest corporation in the world. And it cannot afford to give away money that sustained that business.
And they're the most profitable corporation in the world.
No.
They have succeeded General Motors. okay, in profits. So, I can't buy that, that line,
You can't
Henry.
buy the argument.
No, I can't buy that at all. And this shit about this trickle down stuff that was supposed to have occurred many years ago, I'm still waiting on something to trickle down to me.
Ron, the job market in the United States and everywhere else in the world is a highly competitive process. Now that we don't use labor anymore by hands. That's old, antiquated. So what we have now an industrialized intelligent system that run on these computers, stuff like that. We don't need all of this extra physical help.
And that's
And
why
people are running around saying, well, we need help, we need jobs. But the system won't support those kind of jobs anymore. You have to be what you aspire for your kid to be, or around your kid to be. You cannot depend on labor to carry the economy anymore, because that's just not feasible.
because labor has sold out, Henry, in my opinion.
No,
Labor has sold out. They send all these damn jobs overseas, okay? Just look at Flint, where this show is broadcast from. It's a town in severe decline, okay? All of these factories that used to employ tens of thousands of people, it's a parking lot. You can go from North Flint all the way downtown, and there's no obstruction where General Motors used to be. And this is indicative of all around the country, okay? Now, how much damn money is enough, okay? How many families have to suffer and be begging on street corners? All right, the soup kitchens are overwhelmed. Okay, because of people needing something to eat. And our listeners out there, please help these soup kitchens, because they are in dire needs of all things: clothing, personal hygiene items, fruits, vegetables, etc., etc., etc. But back to this living wage, I'm a firm believer that, President Obama said $9 an hour. I'm encouraging, anywhere from 12 to 15, and then negotiate it. Okay, let these people regain their self-respect. Okay,
Ron, we're in a competitive environment where you're looking at jobs.
I understand
It's
that.
just not going to. It's not. What you're talking about is completely unfeasible. It
I
ain't
don't think
possible.
it's what they
No, it's not impossible.
You have to be in the marketplace. You just can't simply go out and say, folks, hire people without skills and without ingenuity and without experience to do things it takes college graduates to do. That's
McDonald's,
another way.
they have all kinds of employees at McDonald's right now, and this is what I read about an article about August the 29th when he said he do everything on the front end. He does everything on the front end, and he makes $8 an hour.
Including manage.
He managed everything at McDonald's, and he
Sure.
makes $8 an hour. And when you say they need to cut back on what? $8 an hour times 40, that's $320
I'm sorry,
gross.
that person has a job. McDonald's went into the market.
Well, we
to provide
applaud
these kinds of
employment at McDonald's and
right.
But
churches and places of that
you can't
nature.
ask the system to go out and support a structure where you make everybody even.
Well, nobody's
And,
suggesting.
wages are falling in all of the markets in the United States, all the job markets, except
Yeah, because it's going to that 1%. That's why it's going to that 1%. The 99%, as far as that 1% goes, can go to hell.
See,
all right?
I don't
Nothing
know
is
that that's happening.
nothing
I
is
don't have the
impossible. Okay.
But
People were saying that America would not ever have a black president when we got one. They were saying it was impossible. People were saying that the Voting Rights Act, okay, would never pass. Okay, that it was impossible. All right. People were saying that when Rosa Parks got on the bus in Montgomery, all right, that the bus boycott wouldn't last. And that it was impossible. Nothing is impossible. If the people, it takes the people. Government ain't going to do shit for you, people. Get out there and do it for yourself.
Thank you.
Demand demand equality, all right, in all aspects, so that you can have a quality life for you and your family, so that your children will have respect for you. Get out there and do what you got to do legally.
You know what you should do? We should ask some students to come in and sit down and consider this question. Students, high school students, and college students. Let them consider the same question. And
Well, let's bring in that family that sits out there in the hot sun, okay, by that stop sign, all right, or that street corner begging for food.
And he has let life pass by him.
Maybe because of happenstance. Who knows? You know, we don't walk in their shoes.
Ron, we don't want to give the impression to our young people that all they have to do is beg.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying get education, all right?
Okay, that's what we should be talking about.
Okay.
We're not talking about having the government feel sorry for you, because it ain't going to happen.
Exactly, and I have
It's not going to happen for
said that.
business to come out and feel sorry for you. You got to get your kids ready for competition. Competition is going to do nothing but increase among the races, among the genders, and there's no turning back.
I agree.
We have to get our kids prepared, and all of them won't go to the top.
I agree.
Only a segment of them, maybe 10, 15%. That's all we can hope. That's the world. That's how the world runs itself. That's how it's always been, and that's how it always will be.
But we
You
can't
can't bring up armies, platoons of people to live well according to an idealistic standard. We can raise a few up, but that's all you can do.
But one thing we can't do is continue to allow, all right, 60% of our students to not graduate from high school.
Whose responsibility is that? That's our responsibility. Sitting right.
All of us, from inception, all right, till they get to be adults, in my opinion.
Right,
all right?
right.
It's a constant educational process. Okay, but if 60% don't graduate, what skills do they have to
Ron, we're on the same page.
to give to their children? We're always been on the same page.
Now. You've converged. That's the message that needs to go out to our kids.
Exactly.
Because things are not going to get any better. The world is declining in resources and the population is growing. What does that project? Chaos.
11 billion in the next 20 years.
Yeah. Think about
And that's not sustainable, okay?
Right.
But livable wage. I'm proposing $12 to $15 an hour.
Well, I'll give you have my hope for that, and I'll give you sympathetic vibrations on that, but I can't give you anything realistic. I can't promise.
It could be
you that.
realistic. If you can go overseas and build all of these buildings, you need money to do that. If we're barely making it, you wouldn't be able to do that.
It's
And
those
McDonald's
overseas
is
jobs
everywhere.
that's supplying the people here that without jobs.
And it's the overseas that is costing us trillions and upon trillions of taxpayer dollars, when them damn dollars should have stayed right here in the United States way before Iraq and Bush's stupidity. All right, but back to livable wages. All right, we can help every other damn country in the world. All right, but we can't help our own people. Even the soldiers coming back. All right, from the wars, the government's not even taking care of them adequately. All right, body parts missing and dead and all that.
Well, you get no fight for me on that.
You know, it's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
But
Congress knocked that down to have them to get prepared for better jobs. They voted against that.
Isn't that crazy?
Voted against it.
explain.
They voted against. Obama had presented where we would re-educate our soldiers so that they can work and make sure that you can hire the soldiers and you would get like a tax break. And they voted against that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I understand the circumstances for doing that. You don't treat military men that way.
But they are.
Well, I
Yes,
have to,
all
I
of
have to do some investigation. Why don't you look up and see what the parameters are to that? Because I would be mad.
All of those 435 in the House and that 100 in Congress, all right? I did some research on this, okay? Out of three of those people, they have families in the military. But yet, they want to send our sisters, our children, our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers over there to fight a war. But yet they won't take care of us. They won't take care of them when they get injured,
right.
All right, when they come home. Like you said, Jackie, these same assholes, all right, that have refused to honor, all right, this obligation. Okay, these men and women are keeping those 535 safe, their families safe.
Right.
Okay, let's get back to
minimum wage.
Minimum wage.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And I don't want you to get the impression that I'm against minimum wage.
Oh, no, I don't.
Or a livable wage. But I'm looking at the reality of the thing. We're just not, this is not the time. We've lost we used to manufacture and provide services to 75% of the world's consumer goods. Now we're down under 40%. And our population is rising. We're creating no new wealth. Our monetary system is close to collapse as long as we're printing $500 billion a month just to pay our debts. And now the Chinese are saying to us, we don't want your money in dollars anymore. And dollar is the gold standard of the world. But they said they want Americans, the way that they're treating their currency, they want Americans now to buy euros so we can pay them in euros. Those kind of things are up for discussion. And we were the world's greatest nation, most prosperous nation. And I'd say I would hope that we would learn how to pull in all of the extensions that we have out there that we can no longer take care of. We're in the same situation that the city of Flint is. It's got more infrastructure and stuff, and you can't take care of it. It doesn't have the money. It's got to shrink.
And one thing on this Chinese stuff, we need to stop selling American products to China. They just bought Smithfield, the meat company, for almost $5 billion.
Yeah, the pig.
Okay, and they own half of New York and probably half of most other cities. Stop selling our natural resources to the Chinese. It's that simple. Greed. Stop being so damn greedy, you folks. Stop being so greedy.
But Ron, the Americans had that kind of wealth in the past, and they bought up areas around the world.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
We
But
had the money.
Mm-hmm.
Now the table has turned.
we don't have to let it turn. We don't have to let it turn. You know what I mean? Keep our natural resources and our, and our stuff right here in America. Okay. Wow, this has been lively.
Well, that's a good discussion. I hope our audience out there, take heed to this discussion because it's a very serious one, and it impacts their kids. If they're looking at what they should be doing for themselves, they need to stop looking that way. They need to stop and look behind them at the new generation to create a positive environment where our kids will do well for themselves. Not because government is providing or charity, but what they earn under their own ingenuity and effort.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And parents, please, I beg you, make sure that your children have good education, all right? We don't need a 60-70% dropout rate, not just in Flint and Detroit, but all around the country, all right? So that they don't raise their families on street corners begging, all right? And those people that are making minimum wage, fight. You got to get out there and fight for what you want, all right? Fight, fight, fight. Okay? Because what's that old saying? Power gives up nothing without a struggle.
That's right.
Nothing, ever.
And I hope your audience doesn't look at me and say, well, that guy is against us. But it's not a case that I'm against you. I'm trying to raise your platform, raise your vision.
Make our audience
Okay,
aware.
Thank you. Yeah, make our
Okay.
audience aware.
Okay.
Because they have to be competitive in the world.
Right, but we got to be fair. We
But-
got to be fair.
But the
Competitive
playing
but
field
fair.
is the playing field is level. It's level. It's as level as it's ever going to get. The more of the foreign people come in, they aren't going to lie down in the body fluids of our people. They're going to say, hey, you got to get up. And we should be prepared when we have this transition, when the people of color become the arithmetic and political majority of this country. They got to accept responsibility. They got to know how to maintain a free and democratic society. If they want to continue to, we still have all of the nuances to beat the country we were, but we won't ever see the wealth again like we've seen.
All of that's true except for, I take exception to one point, Henry. You know what I mean? The playing field is far from equal or fair. All right? It's far from equal or fair. This has been a great...
Explain. I want to hear what... Explain to me.
Well, we'll have to save that for our next show because, unfortunately, we run out of time when things get really heated.
And I know where you're going. You're going after the racial problems.
No, I was not. No, I was not.
Okay,
No, I was
good.
not.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
not in its entirety.
I'll go home
But that's
and sleep
but
now.
but that's
Thank you.
but that's a factor. All right.
Otherwise,
But at
we're
this time,
misleading our kids again.
But at this time, we must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. I want to thank my excellent technical staff, my great co-host, Ms. Jackie Williams and
Thank
Mr.
you.
Henry Hatter, and for our listening viewers, millions of. Until next time, this is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends saying, stay focused.